Aveley's next game was the second qualifying round away to Taunton Town. This was on Saturday the 9th of November 2019 with a 3-3 draw, goals from Alex Acrofi, Jason Rad and Jules Sykes. So going on to the Taunton game, it's a 6-hour round trip. Seeing it was that long, what was it like going up there?
I think I remember on the day it was absolutely pouring with rain, and we were driving up there, and everyone kept checking like the weather forecast, checking their Twitter, pitch inspections. I can't remember who it was, but I think the chairman and Craig were sort of kept taking these fake phone calls and calling back to Jerry, who was up the other end of the coach, and was saying, Jerry's going to be called off, this and that. Jerry was sort of squirming around in his seat, thinking, no, we've got to travel up here on a Tuesday night. So again, people were making the most of what could have been an annoying situation if it was called off. But yeah, again, just preparing for the game. All the lads, I think we're playing Uno at the back of the coach, having a laugh. It became a bit of a ritual for all the for the longer away game. Yes, that was a laugh. And even like after training and stuff like that, we'd jump on that. So that was always a laugh. But yeah, again, just preparing for the game, hoping it'd be on. Because nothing sort of worse than getting called off, having to go back and then thinking I've got to go up there on a Tuesday night, taking sort of time off work and stuff like that. So thankfully it was on in the end.
Perfect. So they are obviously the division above. How big of a difference is playing? Obviously, we're Division 1, playing in the Prem. How much of a difference is that?
I think there is a difference. I think Taunton were probably the best side we played. Obviously, Chelmsford 2 leagues above, and so on. But out of all the teams in the league above, them, especially that day at home, they were very, very good. But you say it's a step up. I think if you look at our team, most of the players have played in the league above.
Yeah.
Some of them have played in the league above that. And I think the squad we had last year, I think the trophy one shows that we could have easily competed in that league above. We beat, 5 teams from that division and sort of drew 3 games. Obviously, we haven't lost a game to a team in that division in eight games. So I think that proves the quality we had in the team. Obviously, there is that step up. But yeah, if anything, I think it suited our team more because teams would try and come at us, and the quality we had on the break and the pace, and the shape we had in midfield, it just really worked for us. That teams coming on to us, we just hit them on the break, and we had the quality to hurt them. And if they did set off, obviously we know we were a good side. So we did the business throughout really.
So going back to, again, it's a 6-hour round trip. How good was the Meadow supporters coming down to that game?
Yeah, unbelievable. Obviously, you don't think you're going to get that many people travelling that far, but we had a good following. And I think if you can get a result going places like that and that far away, it will make the fans that did come sort of give a bit of positive feedback to their mates, give positive feedback to the other fans there, and it builds a bit of momentum. It lets the fans know what all the lads are like. They get to know them a little bit more by sitting on the coach with them. And yeah, they were unbelievable that day, sort of behind the goal, cheering us on. Sort of getting us over the line in the end for the 3-3 when it was sort of back to the walls a little bit.
for Taunton, before we got onto the goal, Sykes' assist, he was on the left side and managed to just shrug off the player, really. When the ball was coming over to you, did you think that you was going to get it?
Yeah. I don't know. It's weird because me and Sykes, we never ever spoke about like movements, or sometimes when you get a new strike partner, you sometimes talk about things you want to do together and stuff like that, or you do this, you do that. Me and him was just instant. Like we've never spoken about on the pitch stuff ever, but I've always known where to go if he has the ball, and I hope it's the same way as well. But yeah, that once he got down the byline, I think the easiest thing for him would be to put it across. So you just need to get to the first post, really.
Yeah. So you said about the byline. The run from the edge of the box was very well timed, but then when you actually got the touch, you was basically nearly off the pitch. How did it go in?
Just remember trying to lift it. I just remember trying to lift it. Really, it's one of them ones, especially when you're playing well. Again, when you're playing well and you're confident, them sort of things you don't think about. If I don't even know how to explain it. If I had to do that again when I wasn't on form, I probably don't score. So yeah.
You got the assist for Alex's. Can you just talk us through
it? It was a bit of a cross sort of slash shot. I beat him and I was running off the pitch. I thought I'd just try and get it across. And to be fair, it was a great finish on a boggy pitch again.
Such a tight angle as well, wasn't it?
It was a tight angle. It was a great goal. It was a great goal.
Again, before we talk about your goal, Jason's free kick, when it went in, you was loving it. Can you just tell us how good that free kick was?
Yeah, it was quality. He's an unbelievable player. And as I said, I think we'd just gone 1-0 up and then gone 2-1 down within sort of 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So it was a bit of a relief, actually, for him to score sort of so quick after and give us a chance to have a go at him in the second half.
Going on to your goal, can you talk us through it?
It's a bit lucky, in fairness. It sort of took 3 or 4 bobbles to get through to me and Alex, then put the ball in. And it was sort of, I had a sort of decision of either just smashing it as hard as I could, or sort of trying to beat him, and luckily it's the right one. And then unfortunately we conceded in the 94th or whatever minute.
Yeah.
So I have to go back and play Monday. But that was probably one of the best games of the season.
Just talking about you and Alex, you've already mentioned you two playing together. How strong was that partnership becoming?
It was a pleasure playing with him last year. I think we both sort of complemented each other really well, and I think sort of equal in terms of assists and goals, and sort of weren't really worried who scored what, and it just seemed to work right from the start, to be honest. I mean, he set up my first one at Grinstead as well.
So Taunton were in the Premier Division, which is a league above us. How much preparation went into that?
Taunton was a hard one because we didn't know much about them. Where they were so far away and in a completely different league where there wasn't any local teams in that league, it was sort of hard to prepare. We'd played Salisbury, who were in their league in pre-season, and we knew that they were roughly on the same points as them. So we knew there'd be a good opposition, but we didn't know exactly what formation they played or anything like that. We just sort of went into the game with the gaffer saying, we'll play our way and see how we get on.
Yeah.
And fair play to Keith. He hit the nail on the head. He said, the more we keep this tighter, the more they will come at us in the last 15, 20 minutes, because they didn't want to replay, because you don't want to go from Taunton to Aveley on a Monday night.
Yeah.
We dug in that day and we done really well.
How hard was it to play against them? Obviously, being at their home grounds with Man away.
They were a really good team, to be fair. You got to think we were all on the bus at 7 a.m.
Yeah.
Got off the bus at 1:30. It was a long travel time. Really wet and a soaking pitch. It was really a heavy pitch, which suited their style of play. They had a pin-up man up front who would play balls into him and people would run off him, so it suited them. And obviously their fans were really good. They must have had on the day 600-700 fans, and obviously the Aveley faithful must have bought 30 or 40 max, because it is a long way. But yeah, it was a very good game. That it was a proper cup tie. they went 1-0 up, we went 2-1 up, and it was a proper ding-dong battle. But at the end of the day, they were not happy at all to come to Parkside on the Monday. They were fuming about it, if anything.
Yeah.
Which benefited us.
What do you think was the hardest thing to overcome in that game?
I think the fans. I think their fans were so good and so behind them.
Yeah.
At times, the boys out there must have felt really under the cosh because it's quite a tight pitch. The fans are pretty much on top of you. I know Keith was getting stick behind the dugout. Me and Todd were getting stick behind the dugout. Like, the fans were on you. But something changed. Like, that day, it changed for us. Like, I don't know whether it was in the 90 minutes or if it was the journey home. But from that day, it's like we clicked into a sort of family, not just a team. And we went from strength to strength after that day.
We sussed them out pretty early. There were competitive up front, and it was a real. The 3-3. It could have been 4-4, but both teams didn't. On the day, I believe both teams didn't deserve to lose the game.
Yeah,
and it was a real good cup tie.
Just touching on the positivity of the team. There was a couple of shots. I think Alex had a shot wide, Jason over the bar, whatever. And straight away, the team were boosting them back up. Was that just natural, or did that come from the coaching staff?
Well, also, obviously, when you're on the sideline, and it's where you earn your money as a manager or a coach.
Yeah.
You know, as the manager, I watched. I don't get overly bogged down by the other team, by their tactics. You can kind of suss out early on in a game what you're up against. We felt after 10-15 minutes, we felt if we got the ball down, the pitch itself wasn't the best because of the weather. They'd done brilliantly to get the game on down there. And we just felt that if we pinned down their centre forward, who was spinning off onto our left back and they were delivering crossfield balls, if we dealt with him, if we dealt with their set plays, in open play, we could do well. But we had the individual ability, and we were starting again. I just brought James Goody in from Hornchurch, and Connor, and two hard-working lads in the centre of the park with a bit of ability around them.
Yeah.
And we felt that we needed to get on top of them in the midfield area and their centre forward. And we did. We picked it up. But also, I must admit, that was probably, with inside the cup run, that was probably David Hughes' best performance. I thought he was excellent on the day.
Yeah.
Sometimes strikers can win you a game of football, but also sometimes your keeper can keep you in games of football. And on that day, Hughes earned his money. But getting back to your question about being on the sideline for that game, we felt that was exactly the thing we had to do. Get on top of their centre half, try to get on top of their centre midfielder who came into the game later on in the game when we were pinned back a bit. And that got us through the game.
Perfect. So you did just mention about Hughesy, and I watched the highlights video, and in a 3-4 minute video, he made about 5-6 saves. How much did he show in that game?
He was excellent, and he was good all through the cup run itself. Sometimes, in all honesty, in some league games, he didn't have a lot to do.
Yeah.
His distribution off the floor is very good with Hughesy. He's a lovely kid, lovely lad. But like I said, probably that second half against Taunton, and probably second half against I would say probably Carshorten, he was very good for us. But he's a good goalkeeper, and I always think that when the goalkeeper steps up in a game and he becomes, say, your man of the match, that's what he's paid for.
Yeah.
That's what he's paid for, along with every other player on the pitch, to do his job. It gets highlighted a little bit more when the keeper does have an excellent game, because he's in the firing line of shots and crosses. And like I said, on that day, Hughesy was very good.
2 days later, Aveley play at home against Taunton in the second qualifying round replay. This is on Monday the 11th of November 2019 with a 2-1 victory. Goals from Alex Acrofi and Jason Rad. Taunton at home, it was, as seen on the footage, a very top-class finish. Can you explain it for us?
Yes, Gaffer was insisting on me and Jason going out for every corner, just giving us a bit of freedom to be creative, really.
Yeah.
So Jason gave it to me. I think the second guy who came out for them bit on Jason, so I literally took him on one-on-one and just tried to shoot, really. Yeah.
The highlight video cut off your celebration. It was as it went in, you was running back towards the subs bench. What happened after that? You got to the halfway line and the video cut off.
I don't know why I did it, but I ran to Tog.
Oh, really?
Well, more so just it was more obviously the management told us to do that corner and it worked, so they deserve some credit as well.
So Hughesy, after keeping 2 clean sheets in the competition so far, going into Taunton, how prepared and confident was you for that home tie?
So pretty confident. I mean, we knew Taunton were a very good side.
Yeah.
I think we did really well in the previous 2 rounds. I think we won 5-0 and 3-1.
Yeah.
3-0, sorry. So yeah, we were really confident. It was just we knew that Taunton would be better than what we'd already faced.
Yeah.
Obviously, where like the distance as well, where I don't think any of us had faced them before.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of the unknown, but I think we were confident because we were playing well. We'd done really well in the competition already. So yeah, we were confident and ready for it.
How hard was it to prepare for the game with regards to publicising, getting people through the gates and changing key things ready for Matchday?
I think Taunton in general was probably the most pivotal game of the season for us. Obviously, it's a long way. We took a full coach down of supporters, committee and players.
Yeah.
Played and the problem with that was it was in doubt all the way down there as well. There was torrential rain all the way down.
Yeah.
Some of the supporters had gone early and were sort of giving us a heads up of what it was like at the ground. So so we got there and done a real professional job on them, so to speak.
Yeah.
You know, we played as well then as we did at any stage during the season, probably that particular game. I can remember Hughesy making a couple of outstanding saves to keep us in it. And, you know, to get a 3-3 draw down there was a great achievement. And the coach journey back was nothing like I've experienced before in my whole time in football. It was, the coach was like absolutely electric. So from a getting the players up point of view, and I'm sure Keith will speak to you about that, but they were flying and they had great belief that whilst they'd done part of the job on the Saturday, knew full well there was going to be a huge task ahead on the Monday night. You know, Taunton were going to have to make a very, very difficult journey on a Monday night. So we knew we had that to our advantage. So from a playing perspective, you know, the lads were on a huge high with that. From the club's point of view, it always helps social media and stuff like that, you know, Twitter and Facebook. We went out on bits and pieces were thrown out. Taunton have got a very good social media side. So our supporters could see small highlights package Taunton put up. And it was always going to be difficult because a Monday after a Saturday of trying to get people into the ground. But can't remember how many people were there, to be honest, but we played very well again on the Monday night.
So the Monday night we won. For the next round, how much did you want a home draw?
wanted a home draw all along. You know, our record of FA Cup and FA Trophy draws was horrific. The amount, you know, going back to seasons before, it was away all the time. And so, yeah, I think by the time the Taunton game came round, we knew who we got in the next round. So, yeah.
Obviously, there was more Aveley supporters at the home game than there was playing away. How much difference did that support make to the boys, do you think?
I think it was huge, to be honest. I think one of the big things going into that game on the Monday night was the boys needed the support, but they knew themselves and they had the belief that they could win the game.
Yeah.
So looking back at the Saturday, obviously, there are times where you're a goal down, then they're a goal up near the end, then obviously Taunton score late on. But I think the clear message that was coming out from the boys on that bus journey home on the Saturday was, on Monday night, we know we can beat them. We just need to make sure that we turn up, we play our game, we're at home, we'll pass the ball on the carpet like we got, because we play on Astro. And as long as we've got the backing of the fans, that'll help us. So I think it was huge, to be fair, because being at home in that second leg, the lads knew that we know what we're doing at Parkside.
Yeah.
Not many teams come to Parkside and outplay us. If it's a football game, we're going to win. And thankfully, obviously, getting the ball on the pitch, getting the ball down, playing, we score early with Alex, I believe it was. I'm trying to rack my memory. And then obviously Jason scores a wonder goal himself, sort of picking it up in his own half and running sort of past 4 or 5 players and slotting it. Obviously still early on in the first half. And I think that just kills the game, because although they get a goal late on, they were never really in it. And the goal they scored in the 90th minute was, they say, a consolation, but it was. There was a few minutes left after, and obviously then it was tight because we had let a lead slip before to them in the first leg and didn't want it to happen again in the second leg. But we never. There's games that I've been to, both Aveley and other supporting games I've been to, and you think, oh, we're going to lose this. But at no point from leaving the pitch on the Saturday until the referee's final whistle going on the Monday did we even think we'd lose, because we knew that the boys had it in them, and at home with the support we have on a Monday night, they would have had to have just travelled themselves from Taunton to us. It all stacked in our favour.
Going on to Taunton at home, that was the first replay of the cup run. Can you tell us how hard it is to prepare in only a day's difference? So you had the Sunday and then you're playing on the Monday. How hard was that to prepare?
It was harder for them, as I touched on. But I shut it out. It was harder for them because they had the travelling to do. They had to get up. They had to get up to us. They probably had to leave on a Monday morning or Monday afternoon to get to us.
Yeah.
We travelled on the Saturday morning, which is fine. Nothing really changed. The fact that we knew we had to get on top of the holding player, centre midfield. We knew we had to get on top of him. We knew we had to come out of the blocks at them. And it was just one or two little things that from the first game that we needed to tweak. And we spoke about it. Again, I didn't want to bog the players down in terms of tactics. They seen what we knew they were going to come and do kind of work exactly the same way. And like I said, as long as we got on top of certain areas on that pitch on that night, I thought it would be fine. And I felt that if we scored and we didn't let them into the game quick enough, because in the first game it was kind of you score, we score. And give us that 25 minute spell without them scoring, we could get on top of them. And we did that perfectly on the night.
Just touching on your team selection, obviously from East Grimstead, you only made one change in the squad, and that was because of George Allen. Was that what you wanted to do the whole cup run, keep the same team? Or was that really the only option you had?
We did bring in players in and around the cup run. When you find you get to a cup run and you're 2-3 games in, you kind of find that the players you go for are cup tied anyway. So lads in the lower leagues and then have played in it. So the thing was, but it didn't really matter to me because Jack Macker slotted in perfectly alongside Harry Gibbs anyway. So I didn't really need to go looking for a centre half to replace, because I felt that, you know, if you give these boys their head and they do well, why do you want to take them back out again? So from my point of view, it worked. So why try and fix something that's working anyway?
So the 2 goals that were scored in that game for Aveley were scored in the first half. Was anything said at half time to make sure that nothing happened the same as the away game?
Well, one thing that we sort of said, because you can't come in on a Monday morning and work on tactics, or a Sunday morning work on tactics. That's not going to happen. So
yeah.
I looked at Taunton and thought, I've got Jason Rav who can deliver a dead ball. He's a very good, excellent delivery of a dead ball. My view always is, if you get somebody who can deliver a ball into certain areas, if you're taking a corner kick, why take a short corner kick? Or if you know you're in a position to deliver into areas, deliver it. You know, don't overcomplicate stuff. But I looked at them and thought, we had quite a few corners down there, you know, as much as they had, and we didn't have no joy at all from it.
Yeah.
So I, in the warm up, I pulled Alex and Jason and just said, listen, take a short corner between the two of us. All I did was just cover the bases in terms of near post, back post, in the middle of the goal. And I just said to the 2 boys, pull them around a bit, make them nervous, you know, take your time. And I put Alex on it with Jason, to the regards that both of them boys are probably my 2 brightest players and have a little bit of spark and, you know, a little bit of guile about them.
Yeah.
And I just felt that putting Alex out on that corner kick with Jason hinged them a little bit, made them nervous, pull them around. And it actually worked just by me saying to the 2 boys, you know, do a short corner kick. Didn't necessarily mean I thought they were going to score from it, but it just felt that we had to change stuff around. We had to move it around. And by doing that, it worked for Alex's goal. But for Jason's goal was just individually fantastic goal for non-league. You know,
100%.
You know, just going into that goal with Jason, I felt that, you know, when I turned up at the club, Jason Rod was the number 10.
Yeah.
And I'm not a lover of a number 10, believe it or not. You know, that luxury doesn't suit for me. So we went to a 4-4-2, and Jason played on the left. And I was always saying to him, you know, don't get drawn into the game, don't get drawn in, but make sure that when you're on the left-hand side of the park, you can't rely on the ball, getting the ball to feet. You have to go and win the ball sometimes. And in that build-up to the game, he actually won the ball in the middle of our half, and he went on that run. So that was pleasing for me, the fact that he picked that up. And sometimes you have to go in that shape, you win the ball in that area, and you're off. And he did it. And like I said, it was a bit of individual great play from Jason, and he, like I said, he deserved all the credit and the plaudits he got after that goal, because that was a fantastic goal.
Untitled Chapter.